Cancel culture is a real stinker. It's a stinky one. It stinks, okay? That's what we're talking about today on Pull Up Pin Podcast. Welcome back. Cue the intro, please. Thank you.
Cheers. Salute. Salute. That's what cheers is in Italian.
Look at the strawberries. How are the strawberries, man?
Welcome back to the show, everyone. The show that everyone's talking about nonstop. Today, we're going to talk about cancel culture. Nobody's ever talked about this before. It's crazy. Probably am very late to the game for talking about this in any capacity. But you know what? Here we are. That's okay. I'm going to give my perspective on it. You know, we just try to stay with the hottest trends around here. Stay relevant. Stay current. Just trying to keep up, people. Try and keep up. Try and keep up. You hear me? Hear me? I talked to his nose. Hear me? Cancel culture, let's talk about it. Before we talk about cancel culture, I thought it would be good to define it because defining things is really good because we're on the same page about what we are talking about because words matter. I'm going to give two definitions. One is from the Merriam-Webster dictionary. The other one is my definition. Now listen up, everybody. If you've got sensitive ears, this is a good joke. If you got sensitive ears, I just would suggest you put these industrial earphones, ear protection on. Because this is about to get hot in here. It's about to get hot, okay? So just wear these puppies. You've been warned. You've been warned. Merriam-Webster dictionary says the practice or tendency of engaging in mass canceling as a way of expressing disapproval and exerting social pressure. Oh, wow. That's a very interesting definition, and I would agree with it. It's become this mob mentality focused on ruining someone's life because they violated some boundary that was never really clearly defined in the first place. And then there are consequences, which usually involves trying to ostracize that person from society. What's the good and the bad in it? The good is nothing.
Nothing.
With a lot of things, it's like, well, let's take the good with the bad. But with cancel culture, I don't think there is any good in it. And it's like, oh, but we're getting people in these positions and calling them out and holding them accountable. And it's like, no. I think cancel culture, that term, has become a bit of a misnomer for holding people accountable for their actions. They're not the same thing. I think I'm using a misnomer right there. It's like a wrongly assigned title, right? Holding someone accountable for their actions isn't the same as the mob just amassing to destroy someone with barely any information on what actually happened. If you violate some ambiguous standard that's dependent really on what the cultural climate is of that day, then we're going to destroy your life. Then your life is over. Your career is over. It's coming after Frankenstein, man. You don't know, like, everybody's coming and they're just like, it's like nobody knows what's actually going on. Pitchforks, torches, destroy him. It's like, does anybody really know what happened? And they don't know. They don't know. The poor monster. It's not a one-to-one society, but it is that mob that comes after the monster and just says, kill him, destroy him. Bullshit. It's like that fish in SpongeBob where Squidward is like, he's like chanting stuff. And he's got like a megaphone. And the fish walks up and he goes, like, hey, what's that guy talking about? I was like, I don't know, but he's got a megaphone. I love that. It's so true.
The gentle laborer shall no longer suffer from the noxious greed of Mr. Krabs.
Hey, what's that guy talking about?
I don't know, but he's got a megaphone.
But really the idea of being canceled, the term is played out, I'm sure, in so many ways. The reality is that whether or not that term is still applicable, the ideology of it has seeped into culture that it's almost like the norm. And people do walk in fear constantly. And I experience it, especially with doing acting or film or whatever it is. You're concerned that, oh my gosh, if I don't know, if I don't want to say or offend or and it makes someone who is just so milquetoast, someone who's just so weak, someone who just is just like incessantly afraid to just talk. And it sucks because it's like it just ruins any ability to just have a conversation and actually dialogue about things. And instead you just walk in fear all the time that you're going to have your life ruined over a single moment where you maybe didn't even mean to offend anybody. It's bullshit. There's one major... I just spit. There's one major aspect of cancel culture, or even just that mentality, that I think is the most dangerous thing of all. It creates a fear-based culture and a selfish culture. How? Why? Glad you asked. A lot of people walk in constant fear that they're going to say or do something wrong that they didn't know, and that they're going to be brought to social ruin. So everybody is afraid, walking on eggshells, not sure what's okay to say or not say or do or whatever, right? So when you think about it with that mentality, people aren't avoiding things that are deemed offensive because they don't want to hurt the other person. They're avoiding them because they don't want their own life to be ruined. It's not about the other person. It's actually about their life themselves, which makes sense too. I would feel that way. If it's like the mob is going to come after me if I do something that I don't even know. That's a massive problem, and one that cannot be overstated. Because you think about it, in society, we're creating an entire culture. Think about it, cancel culture. It's like a cultural issue. It's in the very DNA of how a lot of people think. We're creating an entire culture where people are afraid to say the wrong thing. People walk on eggshells and are terrified instead of having the confidence to engage in a real conversation and understand somebody and do the healthy thing, which is avoid an actually offensive behavior out of kindness and because you care about the other person. Ooh, that's what it's supposed to be. The healthy way to keep people accountable is to create an accountability culture. Not a cancel culture, but an accountability culture. Those are not the same thing. An accountability culture really is about holding people to a higher standard. But with that, there is this we're in it together type of
I'll smash your lamp, the antique chair, that stupid thing you always wear.
my camera cut out and it makes me mad. Nickelodeon. Ouch, my foot hit my... We need to create an accountability culture. And with accountability culture, it's holding people to a higher standard. And there's a mindset not of, I'm just going to destroy your life. There's a mindset of, hey, let's help each other be better. And there's more understanding and grace and nuance if someone is offended, to try and help both parties understand each other. That's accountability. Canceling is like,
I'm just going to destroy your life because you just...
Accountability is like, hey, let's talk about this. No, I'm not talking about being like overly sensitive about things and like everything hurts my feelings. I'm not saying that. I'm also not talking about like actual like big serious offenses, right? Like I'm not talking about like abuse or something that like should be punished, right? Like that's clear. I'm not saying that. There's a lot of gray area out there, okay? With accountability, there's a dialogue around the offense and around what happened. There's a dialogue around what to do after that. And with that kind of culture opens up a conversation where both parties can dialogue and try to understand each other better and get on the same page. And guess what? For the future, avoid that offense. Not because the person personally doesn't want to be ruined, but because they understand the other individual, understand the other person. They're like, hey, I don't want to do that because I don't want to hurt them. It's an other-focused way of thinking. Now, is that perfect? Is that going to happen all the time? No. But if we're talking about culture, if we're talking about an overall mentality in society, that's where we should start. We should start with accountability. We should start with allowing there to be dialogue. Because now people aren't just walking on eggshells, terrified with ambiguous standards, but now people are open to not just let it fly and say whatever you want, but people feel more freedom to just talk or ask questions or speak or whatever it might be, which then creates dialogue, which then creates understanding and creates a culture based on empathy more than destruction and fear. And that's way better, duh. Don't be stupid. So that's my thoughts on cancel culture. Part 1, because I have an example I want to draw from my own life. Something that happened I know that felt offensive to me, right? I've got a whole journey with mental health I've talked about incessantly in all kind of settings. But just conversations around mental health that have been hurtful at points and how I've had to navigate that. You know, how I've had to navigate it, feeling like I was offended, not offended, just hurt, you know, or that there was a violation or offense, though not meaning to. And it's like, well, how do I handle that? Might not seem like a big deal, but it is personal. And it's something that I think illustrates how we should be accountable and not just destroy people. Just destroy people. All right. That's all I got to say. Until next time, part 2 is coming sometime soon. So what we're going to do is every time we talk about a hot topic, we're going to put Better Homes and Gardens, little stinker boy. His name's gonna change. We're gonna put a quarter in there. Hot topic. There we go. Hot topic number 1, people. Oh, I'm racing more. What's got a hot topic? That's right. We just keep it real here. All right, that's enough. Cancel culture sucks. Bye.
Your wacky paintings on the walls, darling, pow! I'll smash them all.